All right, so our second type of special right triangle is what we call a 30, 60, 90-degree triangle. Okay, so again, it only works with the right triangles. These special triangles, they just means if it's one of them, if it's a 45, 45, 90 or a 30, 60, 90, then you can find two missing sides if they've given you one side. Now, this formula is a little trickier than the 45, 45, 90 triangle to find, but everything else is the same. So if you memorize the formula, it's going to be just the same. What they did, I'm going to just show you really quickly how they came up with the formula, and then we're going to erase it all and just give you the formula, and that's what you're going to use. But they didn't start with the 30, 60, 90 triangle. They started with a equilateral triangle, a 60, 60, 60 triangle. So somebody just drew this nice lovely triangle. Then they decided to split it in half. So they cut it right down the middle. And here, interestingly enough, these are actually what they call, these are congruent triangles. You could call them congruent by many things, but I would just use, here's an angle. Your angles are the same. Right angles are congruent. And then there's a reflexive side. So by angle side, these are congruent triangles. Now, this is helpful because if you just call this side, I'm going to call it 2x. And I'll show you why I call it 2x in a while. But we're going to say each of these sides right here on my equilateral triangle was 2x. So when I prove that these two triangles are the same, that means our bottom sides right here are the exact same. So I chose 2x because when you split that in half, it's really easy to divide 2x by 2. So we have down here, I'll go ahead and just erase that, but we have down here, we've got 1x, okay? And then if you use your Pythagorean theorem, I'm not going to do this. You can go ahead and go off to the side and do it if you'd like. But if you do your a squared plus b squared equals c squared, you will get this side to be x squared roots of 3. Now, last time it was x squared roots of 2. This is x squared roots of 3. Just kind of watch that and memorize it. But here's what I need you to memorize. Some of these are easy. Across from your right angle is always the 2x. I write that one down first. That's your hypotenuse. So if you find your right angle, go across, that's 2x. Now the shortest side's across, your shorter leg goes across from your shorter angle. So if you go across from that 30, you get your shorter side, or x. That leaves this x squared roots of 3 as what they call the longer leg. That one's going to be across from the 60-degree angle. All right, so when we're solving using this lovely formula right here, again, I'm just going to kind of cancel out those x's and y's so I don't get them confused with those x's, and I'm going to mark my triangle. So across from my right angle, this side is my 2x. Across from my 30-degree angle, there's my x, and that leaves across from 60 as my x squared roots of 3. All right, so they're always going to give you one side. So just kind of find that side that they give you. Oops, we'll do it in blue. And you could just go ahead and say 2x is equal to 46. So it's easy to solve for x. We're just going to divide both sides by 2. And x is equal to 23. Okay, so just plugging that back in, that means that this side is 23 right there. And this side, when I plug in 23 for x, is just 23 square roots of 3. So I've got my two answers right there. And then if you wanted to, you could come in here and see what letters they were. So y here is equal to 23, and x there is equal to 23 square roots of 3. All right, not too bad. Let's try another one. Let's choose a nice, lovely color. Let's go ahead. Again, I'm going to kind of cross off the x and the y right there. And I'm going to plug in my numbers, my x's. So across from my right angle, that side's always my 2x. Across from my 30-degree angle, that one's always the x. So they gave me on this one, they gave me my x squared roots of 3 side, which that one's easy for this one. So I know, I would just say, okay, I know that side. So x squared roots of 3 here is equal to 9 squared roots of 3. Some of you guys can see this without even doing it, and that is just fine. But if you try and get x by itself, so if you divide it by that square root of 3 that it's multiplied to, then that actually gets rid of the square roots of 3 on both sides. So you just have x here is equal to 9. And then you can go ahead and plug that in. So this side, x is just 9. This is 2 times 9, or 18. So you have your two sides right there. And again, if you want to know what they are, oops, let me put that one back. Okay, so this was 9. So x is 9 right there. And then that means that this one would be y. So y is equal to 18. Okay. All right, last example. Let's look at this next one. How about orange? Okay, so again, we're going to kind of cross out that x and that y to begin with, and we're going to label our triangle. So across from your right angle, I have a 2x. Across from my 30-degree angle, I have an x. And across from my 60-degree angle, I have an x squared roots of 3. All right, now, again, they told me my x squared roots of 3 side. This one's going to be a little trickier than last time, though. I know x times the square root of 3 is equal to 20. I'm trying to find just what x is so I can plug it in right here. So again, you're going to divide by the square root of 3. Okay, so these cancel out right here. And you have x here is equal to 20 divided by the square root of 3, which is all great and good, except you have a radical or a square root in your denominator. So again, like your 45, 45, 90 triangle, just multiply both the top and the bottom by that square root of 3. Then you don't change anything. It's the same value right there. So when you go through and do this, 20 times the square root of 3 is just 20 times the square root of 3. Square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 9. But what is the square root of 9? That's right, it is just 3. So this side is 20 square roots of 3 over 3. That's what x is equal to right there. So you're just going to plug that in right here and say this is 20 square roots of 3 over 3. And then this one is 2 times this. So it's just 2 times 20 square roots of 3 over 3. And when you multiply, remember, you only multiply outside by outside and inside by inside. So you just got 2 times 20, or this is going to be 40 square roots of 3 divided by 3. And you've got your two sides. Again, if you wanted to see what letter they were, this is y is that 20 square roots of 3 over 3. And then x is going to be 40 square roots of 3 over 3. All right. Okay, this actually, please don't get too frustrated. I took all of this out of the test. So there's nothing to be tested on this, but it's nice to know you'll use this again next year, and we'll hit it again really hard next year too. But I just wanted you to see where this is coming from. So have fun with the homework.